In 2026, the rap game isn't being played in the charts. It's being played in courtrooms. We've watched the titans of industry fall one by one. But tonight, the stakes have hit a level we never thought possible. From the death penalty looming over one star to a federal murder-for-hire plot that has the feds promising a life sentence, the era of untouchable rappers is officially dead. First, we have YNW Melly. After a staggering 8 years in custody and a string of mistrials that have kept the world guessing, his 2027 retrial is now the final hurdle. With prosecutors still pushing for the ultimate price, is Melly facing his final curtain call? Then there's a voice of the trenches, Lil Durk. Just when it seemed like he had successfully navigated the legal landmines of Chicago, a massive federal sweep in late 2024 changed everything. Now, as he sits in a Los Angeles federal facility, the government is laying out an avalanche of evidence, including alleged digital footprints that link him to a hit he can't outrun. And finally, the most shocking update of all, Pooh Shiesty. After a triumphant early release in 2025 that sent the streets into a frenzy, new rumors and federal records have surfaced that could send him straight back to a cell before his first day out celebration even ends. Don't blink. Today, we are breaking down the evidence, the secret recordings, and the legal traps that have these superstars facing life without parole. Is this the end of an era, or is there one last miracle left in the deck? Let's dive in. If there's one name that has become synonymous with the slow grind of justice, it's Jamel Demons, better known to the world as YNW Melly. As we sit here in January 2026, Melly has spent nearly 7 years behind bars without a conviction. Let that sink in. He has been in a cell longer than his actual rap career lasted on the outside. But just when we thought 2026 would finally be the year we got a verdict, the legal system threw yet another curveball that has fans and legal experts absolutely stunned. The big news hitting the headlines this week is a massive legal win for Melly, but it comes with a bitter aftertaste. On January 20th, 2026, Florida state prosecutors officially dropped the witness tampering and gang-related charges against him. For over 600 days, these charges were the secondary cloud hanging over his head, with the state alleging that Melly was using coded messages from jail to prevent a key witness from testifying in his murder trial. His defense team, led by the heavyweight duo of Drew Findling and Kerry Hallwout, welcomed the dismissal, stating that no crimes had occurred. But don't let that victory fool you. This doesn't mean Melly is walking out of those gates. In fact, his situation just got even more complicated. Visual, news headlines flashing. Retrial delayed to January 2027. Highlight the year 2027 in red. The double murder retrial, the case that actually carries the death penalty, has been officially pushed back to January 2027. We are looking at a full decade since the crimes were committed before this man gets a final answer. The reason for the delay? A relentless war of evidence between the prosecution and the defense. The Broward State Attorney's Office and Melly's lawyers are currently locked in a stalemate over which digital forensics and social media records can be shown to a jury. The prosecution's narrative hasn't changed since 2018. They allege that on a dark night in Miramar, Florida, Melly sat in the back of a Jeep and opened fire on his two best friends, Anthony Sockchaser Williams and Christopher Juvie Thomas Jr. They claim he then worked with YNW Bortland to stage a drive-by shooting by riddling the car with bullets from the outside. Visual. Crime scene recreation graphics showing the trajectory of the bullets inside the Jeep. The evidence they are fighting over now is the smoking gun the state never had. They are trying to admit a video from Melly's YouTube channel and specific Instagram DMs where he reportedly said, "Sure, I did that." The defense, however, is fighting tooth and nail to keep that out, arguing that lyrics aren't confessions and DMs can be taken out of context. But here's why 2026 is the most dangerous year yet for Melly: Florida's new death penalty laws. Under the new rules signed by Governor Ron DeSantis, a jury no longer needs to be unanimous to recommend the death penalty. Only 8 out of 12 jurors need to agree. In his first trial in 2023, the jury was deadlocked at 9-3 in favor of a manslaughter conviction. Under the old rules, that was a mistrial. Under the new climate of 2026, that kind of split could lead to a permanent lights out for the Florida rapper. Visual: a split screen showing Melly's mother, Jamie Demons King, looking hopeful in 2022 versus her recent somber social media posts. Melly's mental state is also becoming a focal point. He has famously claimed to suffer from multiple personalities, specifically a violent persona named Melvin. While fans once viewed this as a creative marketing tool for his album We All Shine, prosecutors are now looking to use Melvin as evidence of premeditation and a violent disposition. They want to prove that the happy, melodic Melly didn't pull the trigger, but Melvin did. Meanwhile, his co-defendant, YNW Bortland, has already navigated his path. In late 2025, Bortland accepted a plea deal that dropped his murder charges in exchange for a 10-year sentence on witness tampering and accessory charges. With Bortland's case settled, the feds and state prosecutors are now focusing 100% of their resources on the big fish. Visual: fast-paced montage of Melly's music videos, mixed personalities, Murder on My Mind, fading into a dark, silent courtroom. The Murder on My Mind singer is now a household name for the wrong reasons, as he recently told TMZ. In 2026, he isn't a rapper. He's a legal phenomenon. Every motion, every hearing, and every delay is a reminder that the system is designed to outlast individual. If he makes it to 2027, he will have spent nearly 3,000 days in a Florida jail cell without ever being found guilty of a crime. Is he a cold-blooded killer who executed his friends for clout and money? Or is he a victim of a system that decided he was guilty the moment he put on a mask? As we move into part 2, we're going to look at the man who is currently facing an even bigger beast: the federal government. We're moving from the state courts of Florida to the federal halls of Los Angeles to talk about the voice, Lil Durk, and the evidence that has the streets saying he's never coming home. Visual: a cinematic transition from the Florida sunshine to the high-security federal buildings in Los Angeles. A high-resolution photo of Lil Durk appears, his face partially obscured by shadows. Text overlay: the voice versus the feds. If YNW Melly's case is a marathon of state delays, then the situation surrounding Lil Durk is a high-speed federal collision. As of January 2026, Durk Devontae Banks is no longer just the voice of the trenches. He is a lead defendant in one of the most sophisticated federal murder-for-hire cases the music industry has ever seen. For years, Durk seemed untouchable, navigating the violent landscape of Chicago and the complex legal battles of his past. But in October 2024, the federal government pulled the trigger on an investigation that had been building in the shadows for over 2 years. The core of the case is a chilling allegation. Federal prosecutors in the Central District of California claim that Durk ordered a hit on rival rapper Quando Rondo in retaliation for the 2020 killing of King Von. But as a trial date, now set for April 21st, 2026, approaches, the sheer volume of evidence the government has amassed is nothing short of terrifying. Visual: a digital evidence board. Icons appear for flight records, credit card statements, and text messages. The feds aren't just relying on street talk, they have the receipts. Literally. According to the indictment, an associate of Durk used an Only the Family (OTF) corporate credit card to book flights and hotel rooms for a 5-man hit team to travel from Chicago to Los Angeles. The government alleges that Durk himself was on a private jet to LA at the same time his associates were tracking Quando Rondo's black SUV through the streets of West Hollywood. The most damning piece of digital evidence? A text message allegedly sent from a phone associated with Durk to one of the co-conspirators that read, "Don't book no flights under no names involved with sick me." In the federal system, that's what they call premeditation. But the tragedy of this case isn't just about the rivalry. It's about the collateral damage. The ambush, which took place at a gas station near the Beverly Center, missed Quando Rondo, but claimed the life of his cousin, Xavier Lope B. Robinson, because a death occurred during the commission of a murder-for-hire plot. The charge carries a mandatory minimum of life in federal prison. There is no probation here. There is no early release. In the federal system, life means life. Visual: shaky footage of Durk's arrest near Miami International Airport. A flight tracker showing his attempted private flight to Italy. The way Durk was caught reads like a Hollywood thriller. Within hours of his 5 co-defendants being arrested in Chicago, Durk reportedly booked 3 separate international flights, one to Dubai, one to Switzerland, and finally a private jet to Italy. The FBI caught him just as he was arriving at the airport in South Florida. The prosecution is using these attempted flights as evidence of guilt, arguing that an innocent man doesn't try to flee to 3 different continents in 12 hours. As we sit in January 2026, Durk's defense team, led by the legendary Drew Findling, is fighting an uphill battle. Just this week, news broke that the trial was delayed from its original January date to April because the discovery is so unusual and complex. We are talking about 30,000 pages of reports and hundreds of gigabytes of digital evidence, including surveillance footage from every corner of Los Angeles. Visual, a graphic showing Durk's recent bond request for $0.5 million bail package denied. Durk's attempts to get out on bail have been shut down repeatedly, even with a staggering $4.5 million package that included 24-hour home detention and private security. The judge ruled that because he faces a mandatory life sentence, he is the ultimate flight risk. To make matters worse, reports have surfaced that Durk has spent over 130 days in solitary confinement after he was allegedly found with an unauthorized Apple Watch in his cell. His legal team is calling this a violation of his 8th Amendment rights, but the feds aren't budging. But here is the twist: the scum-his-ass evidence. In mid-2025, prosecutors seize an unreleased Lil Durk track titled "Scum His Ass." They claim the lyrics, which reference riding through Beverly Hills with choppers, are a direct confession of the 2022 plot. While the defense argues that lyrics aren't crimes, the feds are using them to paint Durk as a mastermind of a violent criminal enterprise known as OTF. Visual, a split screen of Lil Durk's Grammy win versus his current mugshot, the sound of a jail cell sliding shut. For the fans, the voice has gone silent. Durk recently told DJ Academics in a phone interview that he is focusing on his faith and learning Arabic while behind bars. But while he seeks spiritual peace, the legal storm is only getting stronger. If convicted on the superseding indictment, which includes counts of conspiracy, murder for hire, and the use of a machine gun in a violent crime, Durk will never step foot on a stage again. Is Lil Durk the leader of a sophisticated hit squad? Or is he a victim of his own fame and the actions of people around him? As we move into part 3, we're going to look at the third pillar of this legal trilogy, Pooh Shiesty. After the world celebrated his 2025 release, we have to ask, is he really out of the woods, or is he about to follow Durk and Melly into the abyss? Visual, a split screen showing Pooh Shiesty's High Energy FDO music video on one side, and a grainy screenshot of the Federal Bureau of Prisons website on the other. The date, April 11, 2026, is highlighted in red. If YNW Melly is fighting the state and Lil Durk is fighting the FBI, then Pooh Shiesty is fighting a ghost. As of January 2026, Shiesty, born Lontrell Williams Jr., is living in a legal gray area that has the entire internet confused. Just days ago, social media went into a full-blown meltdown. Rumors started screaming that the Back in Blood star had been snatched up and sent back to federal prison just months after his early release in October 2025. The spark that lit the fire? A simple database entry. DJ Academics and several other major platforms pointed out that the Federal Bureau of Prisons, BOP, still lists Shiesty as being under the supervision of RRM Dallas, a residential reentry management facility. For fans who saw Shiesty shooting music videos and flashing cash on Instagram, seeing a release date, April 11th, 2026, next to his name felt like a death sentence for his comeback. But the truth is more complex, and in many ways more dangerous than the headlines suggest. Visual graphics showing the difference between prison halfway house and home confinement. Here's the reality. Pooh Shiesty didn't escape his 63-month sentence. He simply changed locations. When he walked out of federal gates on October 6, 2025, he wasn't a free man in the traditional sense. He was moved to federal home confinement. In the eyes of the government, he is still serving time. He's just doing it in a house instead of a cell. This is why his official release date remains April 2026. But why is this a turn he can't come back from if he makes one wrong move? Because in 2026, Supervised release is a high-tech trap. While Shiesty is dropping tracks like FDO and climbing the Billboard charts, peaking at number 12 just this month, he is doing so while wearing a GPS ankle monitor that reports his location to the feds every single second. Visual. News clippings of the 2020 Miami shooting incident and the firearms conspiracy charge that originally sent him away. To understand the pressure Shiesty is under, you have to remember why he was in there to begin with. He pleaded guilty to a federal firearm conspiracy charge that stemmed from a wild shootout in Bay Harbor Islands, Florida. That plea deal was a miracle. It saved him from potential life sentence and dropped 3 other violent charges. But that miracle came with a price tag, a no-nonsense federal tale. The feds didn't just let him out because they liked his music. They let him out under the strictest conditions possible. He is prohibited from associating with known felons. He cannot possess a firearm, and he certainly cannot be involved in any gang-related activity. In the world of Memphis drill, where your ops are constantly baiting you on social media, those conditions are almost impossible to keep. Visual. A screenshot of a recent IG Live where a rival, like EBG Jizzle, is seen mocking Shiesty's home confinement status. The danger Shiesty faces in 2026 is violation by association. We've seen it happen to countless rappers before. If Shiesty is at a music video shoot and anyone, in his crew has a weapon or a criminal record, the feds can revoke his home confinement instantly. They don't need a new trial. They don't need a new jury. They just need a preponderance of evidence that he violated his terms. If that happens, Shiesty doesn't just go back to finish his original time. He faces new federal charges for violating supervised release, which can carry years of additional time. The internet rumors of his rearrest on January 12th turned out to be a misunderstanding of a live stream from his close friend, Bendidin. But the fact that the rumor was so believable shows just how thin the ice is. The rap world knows that the feds are looking for any excuse to put the big BRR back in a box. Visual. A montage of 1017 artists, Gucci Mane, Pooh Shiesty, and the late Big Scar. The screen fades to somber black. Gucci Mane has been vocal about his support, calling Shiesty a prodigy and a changed man. But even Gucci Mane's influence has limits when it comes to the Department of Justice. As we move closer to that April 11th, 2026 true freedom date, the target on Shiesty's back is only getting bigger. His rivals know that they don't have to shoot him to defeat him. They just have to get him to react on camera. The tragedy of the rap to prison pipeline in 2026 is that the more successful you are, the more the system wants to pull you back. Melly is fighting for his life in Florida. Durk is fighting for his life in California. And Shiesty, he's fighting for his life in a luxury home in Memphis, knowing that one wrong person in his kitchen or one wrong prop in a video could cost him the next 2 decades. Visual. Final graphic of the 3 rappers, Melly, Durk, and Shiesty, with the words, "Who is next?" The era of the untouchable rapper is over. Whether it's the state of Florida, the FBI in Los Angeles, or the federal probation officers in Memphis, the message is clear. The mic can give you a voice, but the system can take it away in a heartbeat. The clock is ticking, the files are being stacked, and the cells are waiting. We've seen the rise, we've heard the anthems, but in 2026, we are witnessing the cold, hard reality of the justice system. From the 2027 death penalty countdown for YNW Melly to the April federal showdown for Lil Durk, the stakes have never been higher for the giants of the genre. Even Pooh Shiesty, who the world thought was free, is currently walking a razor-thin line that could end his career before his first comeback album even drops. Now it's your turn. We've laid out the evidence, the trial dates, and the secret records. But who do you think is actually coming home? Is Melly finally going to beat the state, or is the 8-year wait just the beginning of the end? Does Durk have one more miracle left in his legal team, or did the OTF credit card trail seal his fate? And Shiesty, is he a changed man, or is the system just waiting for him to slip? Drop your verdict in the comments right now. If you're screaming free the voice or free Melly, let us know why. If you think the crash out era needs to end, tell us that too. We're reading every response. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and get the breaking updates the moment these trials start, you have to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We are tracking every court motion and every jailhouse leak. Don't let the algorithm keep you in the dark. Thanks for watching. Stay smart out there, and we'll see you in the next deep dive.